So instead of always talking about Christmas and that sort of thing, I just want to talk about something that I saw recently. And I know I'm behind the curve on this one because this movie's about 2 years old. It was shocking. It was shocking to me. It's a documentary called Food Inc. It's done by Eric Schlosser, who did Fast Food Nation, and Michael Pollan's in it. He wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma and In Defense of Food and that sort of thing. Disturbing and shocking movie to watch, and it talked all about how the food industry, and not just like fast food and restaurants, but the food we actually eat on our tables, has been perverted and industrialized by companies like McDonald's. To be honest with you, I'm entirely disgusted by the whole thing. In the movie, they talk about how when McDonald's became first a restaurant and it was a drive-in and so on and blah blah blah, and then it became what it is today. They got rid of the roller skates, they got rid of the drive-in, and they turned it, instead of somebody cooking you food, they got many people to do the same job over and over again, and you could turn it into a processing line, an industrial processing line. That revolutionized the way we eat food. When there's hundreds, possibly even thousands of McDonald's around the world now, that's one of the lines. When they want every burger to taste the exact same, you change the way beef is produced. And you change it not for the better. You change it for the incredibly and infinitely worse. The food we eat has gone from wholesome natural ingredients to disgusting, filthy, it's almost non-food. The movie will talk about corn and all the places, people use corn where it's not necessary because it's a high yield crop, it's cheap, a lot of money to be made in gas and so on and so forth. They show cows all across the United States that are fed with corn, and even with their 4 stomachs, they can't digest it. So these cows become riddled with E. coli. If you were to feed one of these cows riddled with E. coli grass for 5 days only, it would shed 85% of the E. coli in its system. But instead, more and more companies are produced, and what they do is they take the waste, the hooves, the tongue, the feet, you name it, the byproducts that you can't even put in a hamburger. They take that, they grind it up, and they wash it with ammonia. Literally ammonia, which is a cleaning agent. And they turn this into basically a paste. And then this wondrous company will turn around and sell this back to all the meat manufacturers so that this ammonia-laced pile of shit can be mixed into your hamburgers that you buy from the store every day. And that's exactly the sort of processing that goes on. People like the Food and Drug Administration, people that are meant to police this sort of activity. Well, the Food and Drug Administration, all of their top-level executives and managers and policymakers all work for these gigantic food processing companies. It's ridiculous. They showed it at a company that they mentioned is Monsanto's. I don't even know, maybe after these laws I saw on this thing, maybe I'm not allowed to talk about it, who have genetically modified soybeans to include some sort of chemical that makes them resistant to the wild amounts of pesticide. So instead of using less harmful pesticide, they use this thing that is no longer an actual food. It's a genetically modified organism, a GMO. And then you can spray whatever the hell you want. Every weed, anything dies except for this wonderful soybean. Then, in turn, you make companies use this soybean and no other soybean. And then, because you genetically modified it, now you own it. So instead of soybean being a food that's grown, this company Monsanto's owns soybeans? What the f***? And it shows people being, sued for trying to use their own seeds instead of using Monsanto seeds and stuff like that, and it's ridiculous. The level of genetic modification is gone through the roof. This movie will show you that 70% of all processed foods, which by the way contain mostly corn, wheat, and soy, no matter what it is, over 70% of those have genetically modified organisms in them. Over 95% of food purchased in grocery stores nowadays is all processed, not natural. They showed an example of the health epidemic in that country, and in a classroom full of maybe 16, 17 kids, somebody asked, how many people have somebody in their family with diabetes? Every kid, hand up. And they said 2 people, 3 people. Every single one of them had their hand up because they had at least 3 people in their family with diabetes. And it's like, that's okay. The kind of food we're eating, the disgusting filth that's put in it, is a major cause of cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. And those are the 3 major killers in all of the United States right now, and Canada. These big slaughterhouses and food processors hire illegal immigrants with no papers, no anything. They work them to the bone for shitty wages for years and years and years. The video showed illegal immigrants who have lived there and worked there for 15 years. And then instead of, for reasons I'm not quite sure, I might have to rewatch it, but I don't know. I don't want to rewatch it. I don't want to cry. Instead of continuing to work under the horrible conditions that they have, they think maybe these people are going to say something. So the company that hired these immigrants calls immigration so that they can be deported after living here for 15 years. After paying them money, helping enable them, I guess if you want, they turn around and shed them loose. And that sort of treatment of people pales in comparison to the treatment of animals at these places. The worst part about it is we let it happen. When you think about it, how it doesn't comprehend it, I don't understand. But you can go to any fast food junk ass and order a burger for 99 cents, but you can't go to any grocery store and buy a head of broccoli for 99 cents. These modified foods are cheaper than natural whole foods, which we grew up as a species eating, and just in the last 40 years have totally abandoned. And these big companies that own, their power is just getting more and more out of control. And of course, my favorite line in it, because it said more, is blank and blank of a company declined to be interviewed, declined to be interviewed, declined to be interviewed. So these ass dick hammer douchebags basically are killing a country or two, but they don't want to say any part of it. I'm very happy that I live in Canada because thankfully we are not quite this bad yet, and I hope we don't. I'm fortunate enough to live in an area where we have local farms everywhere. One of the best farmers markets I've ever seen in my life, where I can buy whole, natural, grass-fed beef from the farmer who drives it in from his farm every week to sell it. These are general down-home farmers with their fresh vegetables, their fresh meat, their naturally sourced produce, everything like that. And little steps like that is all it takes to get better. So anyway, I'm no crusader. I'm obviously not a professional at anything. But I urge you to watch a movie. It's called Food Inc. If you get a chance, read a book by Michael Pollan called In Defense of Food. And he goes over some of the stuff, and he goes over just how easy it is to fix it, to make it better for us. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Again, sorry, it's not as fun as some of the other ones, but if you'd like to see, rate, comment, and subscribe down below me. Okay? Thanks. Peace.